while.
These days where we don't do video so much easier.
Very
For
true.
now. All right, we're recording.
Are we live?
We're live. You
We're
ready?
Here. We're back.
Welcome back to Little Talks, the podcast where we talk about little things. I am
What?
trying something new.
Well, digital marketing things, bro.
Oh, yeah, that's right. B2B and digital marketing things. What a great intro.
Oh, Roop, sure.
I am Roop, and with me this week is Sam.
Hello. Good morning.
We do have a guest. We'll announce that person in a minute.
Super pumped.
But first,
We have some exciting news. It's
Yeah,
been a
we-
good week.
yeah, we've got it's a very busy week.
For those of you that tuned in Friday, which really didn't go live till Monday, so you tuned in Monday, Mike from Grasshopper was here, and we had a hell of a day. It was a great, I'd call it a great brainstorm session in the sense of CRM and content. And if you listen to the podcast, you'll hear more about that. We had a great lunch. It was just an overall, it was a good Friday with Mike. So, Mike, thanks for coming down. I know it's a long drive. And, by the way, Mike is over 2.5 hours away and got here at 8:15.
Yeah, he's a trooper.
Yeah, he was up and at him at the crack, of dawn. So, Mike, it was great having you. Roop, any thoughts?
If you haven't listened to that one, but you are listening to this one and are interested in how a CRM can work for your
go
B2B
back.
brand,
It's a great listen.
Yeah, he didn't get paid for that. That was not a paid advertisement, but it was pretty good. He's a really smart guy.
He is
I
really
like
smart, very well spoken, and it was great.
So we've got one from Mike and one from Trent at Grasshopper. They're 1-to-1 on
Yes.
the podcast, and I suspect
They are representing the organization very well.
I feel like the rivalry there will probably yield some sort of tiebreaker podcast coming up. I don't know which one that will be, who it'll be, but we'll probably have both of them back at some point.
Well, so we talked about the Super Bowl last time, and Roop texted me
It was
late
two weeks
in the
ago, I
fourth
think.
quarter. Yeah,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. He texted me late in the fourth quarter. Roop, what was your score prediction on who was winning?
Okay, so I predicted the score was going to be 42-35, which I thought
With
was
who
high
winning?
at the time. Well, I thought the Eagles.
Oh, that's
So
right.
I had it backwards. And what happened was, of course, if you watched, in the fourth quarter, the score was 35-35 with the Chiefs driving. So it was an opportunity for it to be 42. In fact, it should have been 42-35, but they wisely took a
For
knee
sure.
on the
Take the
one and were
time.
running the clock and kicked the field goal to win the game. Great game. Very
By the
good
way,
game.
I saw it went, I don't want to say it went viral, but I just saw a post, and someone put $100 with a 38-35 score with the Chiefs winning. $100 yielded $32,000.
Wow, what a good day for that guy.
That's a heck of a...
Who was that gal?
Yeah, actually, I think it was a lady.
Oh, good.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Nice.
Okay, so like I said, it's
Congratulations,
been a
Chiefs.
great week. Yep, congrats to the Chiefs. We have a lot of Chiefs fans. Brock Campbell and Julie Swaber, very, very big Chiefs fans. So
Is
that's,
Brock still
Chiefs
Brock
Nation.
still coming and wearing Chiefs
Brock
gear?
is actually, the parade is today. I don't think Brock is in Chiefs gear, which is odd because he was Monday, Tuesday.
Did he go to the
would've
parade?
sworn- No, but like he was
Oh,
representing here in
okay.
Tulsa. We had a big week last week. We landed 2 new clients, River Logic down in Dallas.
Yes.
And Osteocentric Technologies in Austin, Texas. We kick that off next week. Two great companies.
Yeah, both fun groups.
Both really great people.
Really, yeah.
So we're vibing and we're meshing, and we can't wait to kick OCT off next week.
In Austin.
In Austin. Roop and Sammy. God, do we go live from Austin? Shoot, we're going to push the podcast.
We're going to push the podcast.
Yeah, we don't have time to go live in Austin, honestly.
Yeah. Speaking of Texas and of Austin,
Tejas.
our guest is ready to be announced. We're through the opening now. Let's introduce the
We have
guest.
one more thing to talk about, but let's talk about it with our guest.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. So this guest is started off as a longtime listener of the podcast,
And
right?
podcast loyalist.
Podcast loyalist. Graduated, I think, based on that, to employee.
From listener to employee. And everybody, welcome Taylor Bartley.
Taylor Bartley, yes.
Woo! Insert clap sound here.
That's correct.
Hi, everybody.
Taylor Bartley, you are on week 2 of being an employee at Littlefield Agency. Welcome to your first official podcast experience.
Thank you, guys. I'm very nervous, but very excited.
Yeah, so Taylor said she's nervous. For those of you that are listening and know Taylor, like the most bubbly, lighthearted, wonderful lady,
But thank you.
you spoke to everyone in staff meeting with so much confidence and poise.
Yep.
There's no reason to be nervous
No.
for the 3 of us and a few of our guest listeners.
It's just a new
Or
medium.
the thousands of guest listeners, excuse me.
That's true.
Sorry, Taylor.
Let's aim for the moon. I don't know. It's just a new medium. I think I've been on a newspaper. I'm pretty sure I was on a Jumbotron one time, but a
Oh.
podcast, it's a whole new, different channel of communication. So
Yeah, and because of our technical limitations, we can't edit.
Yeah.
So it's just whatever happens is going to
Yeah,
happen.
she was like, "Yeah, wait, what's the?" And we're like, "No, we just go live. we go live. We do it live." So,
Yeah.
okay, you've been on a jumbotron. That's kind of a scary experience because you're like, what do you do?
Yeah, just
a
lot of poke signs. That's it. It was at an OSU basketball game. I think I was on the kiss cam at the OSU basketball game too, but my husband had a teacher there too, and so it was just a little peck.
So speaking of pokes, walk us through. By the way, as you guys will see on our podcast posts, her natural sign. I do a thumbs up, and TB did a pistols firing.
Yeah, when in doubt, use a pistol firing.
Yeah,
I never know what to do with my hands.
You will see that. So talk to us about where did you go to school, where have you been the last few years, and what brought you to the agency?
Well, I am born and bred in Tulsa. Actually, I was thinking about this earlier today. My dad went to Bishop Kelly also, and so did I.
Go Comets.
He actually started, I think, the soccer organization there, so
What?
a little fun fact. And
my gosh.
if you're ever at Old School Bagel, which I believe is New York Bagel now,
yes.
there's a picture of his basketball team with my grandpa on there, so try and spot my dad.
The
His
Brookside
name-
or the South location?
Brookside.
Okay, I'm there all the time.
Does he get unlimited free bagels because of this?
No, he really should, though. I should talk to
agree.
him about that.
He needs to work a new deal.
I know.
Wow, that's
He
there's
used to
a
do
fun
sales,
fact.
too, so what's he doing?
So you graduated from Bishop Kelly.
Yes, and then I went to Oklahoma State, where I met my husband Preston in freshman volleys. So we're not the best singers. That's why we placed 6 out of 7, but we are a good time.
When we were checking the mics before we went on, I usually ask the guest and Sam to speak into the mic so I can kind of hear levels and all that kind of stuff. And when I asked Taylor to, she started singing.
Yeah,
Just a little riff.
It was pretty good,
I'm
too.
surprised that you're 6 out of 7 because yes, her mic checks twice.
We were impressed.
She was singing.
Yeah, we were actually impressed.
Most people say hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
I'm
Hello,
Steve.
hello.
Well, my audition song for Follies was "What Do Tigers Dream Of?" and I
When
got
they take
it.
a little tiger snooze. Wow, that's
Yeah.
a great hangover. There's a
yeah,
blast
the
from
Hangover
past. I
song.
love it.
And then they were like, "This girl's funny. She's in." And I guess I did cheer so I could dance as well. Maybe a back tuck, but
Oh, wow.
you know.
Wow, okay, so we got
Wasn't
the
based off
jack
my
of all
singing.
trades over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
So,
a Renaissance woman.
Taylor, you graduated from Oklahoma State, and where did you head from there?
I started, I think, probably 2 weeks after graduation. I had a little Memorial Day at Grand Lake, and then I headed on to Dallas for Omni Hotels and Resorts, their corporate office, where I worked my way up from an assistant to sales and marketing coordinator. And I basically was like, you guys need a girl, I'll do it. Copywriting, email marketing, PR, do you guys need help?
Wow.
And so I just tried to learn basically everything and just absorb. I don't know. It was a great learning experience. And then I did some residential real estate marketing and then lease and tenant. And then I also did commercial real estate and then architecture firm for 2 years in Fort Worth and then a Fort Worth agency for the past year. So little agency under my belt for Littlefield.
No, and what's awesome, I don't think I properly introduced it earlier, Taylor is a content writer here at the agency. And this last agency you worked at in Fort Worth was, you kind of focused in the B2B realm, right?
Yeah, I was a subject matter expert for
SME, baby.
social media and PR, and it was mostly B2B clients. We had one B2C, but it was just kind of organic social every couple of months or so.
Nice. So Taylor just moved back to Tulsa right before Christmas with her husband, Preston. Preston's a friend of mine, an awesome dude. And fun fact, what is the fun fact about your husband?
Well, there's a lot of fun facts.
What's the first thing that comes to mind?
He has a very large mouth.
He has the world's longest tongue I've ever seen.
I was
What
wondering.
is happening
That is
right
his
now?
party trick.
This
And by
is-
the way, this is like I'm not being weird. He has the world's largest tongue.
Yeah, I did put that in my new employee presentation for our for our Follies pictures of like where we met freshman year. He just smiles. He has the biggest mouth. He wants to do voiceovers as a side hustle, but he's actually an engineer.
He
but
is
he's a good party.
Great human, hilarious dude, and like I said,
I-
by the
I
way,
think I
for
can't
those
wait to
listening,
meet
if
this
you're like
guy.
Sam, you're
Yeah,
nuts.
no.
We'd be happy to take a picture of Preston because
In his tongue.
Oh,
Okay.
we could post it on Instagram.
So
I'm just
it'd
kidding.
be there's our cover. There's our cover picture.
there's a channel
Yeah.
for that
Who's this
somewhere.
guy? Okay, so you're here. You're on week 2 of the agency. How are things going? It seems like you're vibing and just fitting right in.
Yeah, I've just I feel like it's been going so great. Everyone's really nice, and it's refreshing how the organization is structured about how different departments. Or I met with Brock yesterday. He doesn't like to call them departments; he likes to call them functions, which I really loved.
Well, it's news to
How
me.
they all work together. Maybe it's a
Adding
new
that
thing.
to the exec team meeting.
Yeah, but that's great. I love to hear it.
Hang on, I need to add that to a list real quick.
Oops, sorry, Brock called
No,
you out.
that's okay. Brock's not listening.
No.
You've been working with Rocco a lot for email marketing,
Nice.
writing a few press releases. Been working with Roop about content strategy. Got back into HubSpot, which is refreshing. few TikToks around the office, and I don't know, it's been so great. I love it.
Dude, that's awesome.
Like,
so
keep me
I
forever.
will give. So here's the tricky thing, right? We have Taylor Armstrong and we have Taylor Bartley. So I call Taylor Bartley TB. So TB is totally crushing social, very on trend, doing a great job with stories and posts. So if you don't follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or LinkedIn, give us a follow. And but Taylor, since you're here today, Roop kind of put a script. We're going to do some riffs in the eyes of content. So Roop, I'm going to let you kind of take it away.
Let me set this up real quick.
Yeah.
So we generally have been, the structure of the show has been, we've been following what goes out on the Little Bits email, and we kind of talk about that. We'll probably continue to do that by and large, but what we've discovered is for the last, 6 episodes or so, we've kind of strayed from that a little bit and been talking more about things that are coming up between those. So ChatGPT really forced it because it was moving so quickly. And, when we have a guest on, we want to talk about things. We want to leverage the guest,
for
right?
sure.
So we knew Taylor was coming on today, and she's content-minded. So we thought today we'd just talk about content, how it relates to your B2B brand, and what you should and shouldn't be doing around content. So the script today literally says riff. It just means we're just going to make things up as we go. But don't.
We're really good at that, by the way.
Yeah, we're doing it every week. You just haven't noticed. But
for over a year now.
The Little Bits email, still sign up and get that. We'll still reference that occasionally if we're just trying some new stuff. So this stuff is not on that email. This is exclusive content to the podcast here. Okay.
So introducing topic 1 for Roop and Taylor.
Yep.
Can you talk about where personas fit in B2B content strategies?
First off, let's tell everybody what a persona is. They
Go
may
ahead,
not
Roop.
know. So when we talk about personas are who your audience actually is as a human being, not as a demographic. Not are they a man or a woman or how much money they make or where they live. Things that you can target within, say, a Facebook or a Google ad targeting. Those are part of persona, but that's not really persona. Persona is what movies do they like, what are their hopes and fears, how does your product make their life better. It's things more directly to them, and usually each brand has no more than 5 to 7 personas, and those represent large sections or groups of their target audience or people that are interested in their product or service. When you understand your audience in that way, you're able to create content that speaks to them. So instead of talking about yourself and pushing your solution out there, you're able to kind of hook people back in, and by understanding who they are and acknowledging, hey, we know who you are, we feel your pain, and we think we can help you, right? So you endure them to you this way. So personas are kind of important. They're kind of the cornerstone or the starting point to a good content strategy.
And I think that's a good point that you bring up. All of our clients understand and realize the importance of implementing personas into their content strategy. I've talked to prospects before, one last year actually, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we wasted our money on persona exercise.
They said, don't bring it up. Don't even talk about it.
It's the 4-letter word, right?
Yeah, that was disappointing.
And it speaks to they didn't see the value in that, and quite frankly, I don't think they do a great job in any of their content. No knock on said. They're not a client of ours. But it's so funny because it's like meet Joe the janitor, right? like here's Joe's interest, etc. And like it's haha, like that's funny, alliteration. But that's
how we can remember it.
We can remember it, and it's also really important as we map out content. Taylor, I don't know if you have any experience in doing that or just thoughts on.
I feel like I have a little experience. I've been given different personas, but I've never been behind the scenes and kind of making personas myself. But I feel like personas are all just a part of the consumer journey and how to target your content the best. I was just reading Content Marketing Institute. I think it was an article from, 3 years ago, but they all say within the personas, it's all about marketing your content. And content isn't new because everyone's like content's king, but content strategy is new, and how you base that on your
very well said.
Persona is very important.
You've been diving in. I get one of the early things I did for Taylor last week was gave her the binder of personas.
I loved it. He printed them out for me.
And I say
nice.
Binder, but there's only maybe 20.
Government Gary, baby.
But yeah, we got a bunch of personas. So that's how we approach content here as well. Is we look at the personas first and what content can we create around these personas.
Go ahead, Taylor.
Oh, sorry. I like how also in your personas you included the challenges that they have with specific brands and products, and just how to make their life easier, I guess, through the brand and marketing.
And the thing, and the thing I'll say that kind of, it's work coming up with the persona, and you're pulling from any and all available resources. And sometimes, a brand doesn't have a lot of resources. Sometimes it's anecdotal information. You got to talk to a sales team or somebody who has direct contact or has had a lot of experience around that particular persona. So it's not like a set, to me at least, there's not really a set science to it, because not everybody has the same data or information available. But when you can get past that and get something together that represents that concept of persona, it makes everything else so much easier.
Yeah, I agree.
So our like content strategy sessions we've had in the office, where Sam loves these. We put these
literally love them.
sticky notes.
I live for these.
It's because it's pretty, right?
It's pretty and busy.
We put
And
these
group
colored
activity.
sticky notes up on the wall, and we kind of jot down ideas under each persona type, and you're just kind of coming through. It goes so fast, and I'm gonna say fast. It's a 2 or 3 hour project,
But it flies.
But
though.
it flies by, and it's pretty easy. And I can't imagine doing it without a persona. It would be rough.
Well, the most important thing is too is like it's not us as an agency saying, "Hey, here's Government Gary." There's so much collaboration with the client.
Yeah.
I mean, they are the true experts, and they're leaning in on us for the strategy. And Roop, what I'd ask of you, can you walk us through? Once the persona development is in good shape, you feel good about the target audience, and it's approved with our clients, like what do you do next?
Well, usually that's where we start applying it towards content. So coming with the content calendar it's around those folks. Right now, because most of our clients are using HubSpot along with that inbound content strategy, we're trying to identify who in their audience fits these personas and actually label them. So in the database, we have a whole column for personas, and I know Sam Littlefield is in this database, and he's was it janitor Gary?
Jerry? Was it Joe?
Joe the janitor. Yeah.
Terrible example.
Yeah, so you would fit a persona based on some activity you would take on
Slam
the
and
web.
Sammy.
Slam and Sammy. So yeah, baseball enthusiast. I don't know what that one would be, but we would identify you based off of activity around our content, how long you stayed on a particular piece, or how many different types you read, or how you reacted to an email, or whatever the flag is for us. The secret sauce in the background. We would identify you as a persona, and we'd put you in that group. Now, moving forward, after we know enough of you or in different persona groups, and we really do understand who you are, we'll create content that only you get. So it doesn't make sense for me to send Slam and Sally. I don't know what she does. I should use real personas here. Anyhow, Slam and Sally is a whole other persona. I don't need to send her the same content Slam and Sammy's need to see, right? So now I can segment and get down a little bit deeper
Now we're talking.
into who you are and what you're, again, how I relate to you as a brand or a product or a service is really important, and it's hard to do that when you talk to everybody as if they're the same person.
And we had a recent conversation, and I want to segue into. Dang it! I said it again like last week. Segue. Shoot, my bad.
Yeah, we're trying to get away from
using
using
segues.
segue.
I did a segue to our Paris one time. It was really fun.
So,
Nice.
I think there's a segue to it in Tulsa. Sorry.
No, okay, I know what I was. So as we segment customers, right? We had this conversation recently with a client of different needs, different pain points, but also like what is the end goal, right? To convert.
Yeah.
To convert your customers into brand loyalists, to have them buy your product or your service. And we have clients out there that are trying to convert new customers, but then to, let's say Steve Roop is a loyal customer. What's the cross-sell strategy, right? They already own a piece of equipment. How are we getting them to buy your parts and your accessories? Also, when your equipment's up and it's ready to, and it's time, right? Hey, it's been 10 years since you owned said equipment. It's time to upgrade your fleet. Things like that. I mean, there's so many learnings.
That's where CRM, like we talked about last week, really comes in handy to keep track of
100%.
where everybody's at in the journey and who they are and all that.
I feel like too post-pandemic, that part of the consumer journey, the customer experience has been so prevalent in how you respond to your customers or how do you respond especially to your loyal customers. Like that's the most important thing, how quick you can get back to them, how you can solve, even with Chat GPT. I think we were discussing either me and Roop or Chris from Analytics and I were discussing how Chris from Analytics,
I
he's
love
the
that
head of
title.
Analytics. Well, how
Chris from Analytics.
Chris from Analytics.
I don't know how to preface
Holy
it.
crap, there's this
How
new
do you
title.
Okay. But we were talking about how you can get in a specific, for example, a Facebook group and read the problems that your customers or people using your products are having, and then using Chat GPT or just kind of targeting and pinpointing the issue so you can respond to it as fast. And I feel like that's a lot of times people care about customer experience and how fast you can respond and what are you doing about it. I mean, we've seen so many memes on Twitter or responses of brands not responding well that, I mean, it's a PR marketing content landscape that everyone needs to be forefront
Perfectly
of.
said.
Yeah. which segues.
Rolling
by the
on
way,
out.
we're not a video day.
Into our
You should see the
yeah.
eye roll that Roop just
Yeah.
did towards me. My
So
goodness.
the other so that's personas. You got to have a persona if you're going to do content strategy, and you probably should have a content strategy. Even if you don't, if you don't think you need one, you need one.
You need one.
If you're in marketing, you should have one.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. I think in the past, this is a good segue, Sam. Listen to this one. I think in the past, brands would think, man, I don't want to deal with content. That's just writing a bunch of blogs.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to write a blog.
Or why should I write about the industry? Like, that's just a waste of time when I could be putting a product
and no
out
one's
there.
reading this and blah, 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 blah,
So-
blah.
Or
Topic
do an
number
interview.
2 is content more than a blog.
that was bad. Very
there you
okay.
go.
I see what you did there.
Okay.
Rolling on into that
Yeah,
content on our segues.
working the script.
Kind of lead us off here. In your definition, and your title is a content writer. Writing is just one component, right? Blog
Yeah.
is just one component. What is content in your world?
I feel like that's kind of hard to nail down. Before the podcast, I was trying to prepare a specific definition of content,
it's hard.
and it's definitely hard to nail down. But I feel like content is basically, it's all marketing at this point. It's writing blogs. It's whether it's B2B or B2C. It's press releases. It's podcast. It's
Video,
TikTok,
short
yeah.
form, long form, copywriting, social media, organic, paid ads.
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
You kind of
Content is
there was a
king.
senator in the 80s that was asked to identify or to define pornography, and he said, I don't know how to define it, but I know it when I see it.
That's like content.
Rocco will get that.
Wait,
reference. That's what content is.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's kind of
That's a
hard to
fresh way
define.
to say
I
it.
didn't know where you're going there, but
It's
I'm
hard to
tracking.
define, but you know it when you see it. And,
Right.
And I've always kind of looked at it, I've tried to divide the line in content as anything that's kind of ongoing. So when we think about a campaign or a creative concept, it usually has a final execution. And we're doing, I think at Littlefield, starting to look at that and how can we push that out into content and give it more tentacles and more life, right? The campaigns that our team here develops. But when you run an ad campaign, it may run 3 or 4 months, and it's it performs for you, brings in traffic, it converts, it gets leads, all that kind of stuff. That's very different than an ongoing content strategy where you need to constantly engage with and talk to your audience in a way that is deeper than the demographics of the campaign. These things work together; they absolutely work together. But that's kind of how I've been trying to. That's my working definition of it right now.
I like it.
But yeah, I think the center concept of content is a concept. It's what's that. We do it as like a headline. So if you're going to get mechanical about it, it really is it starts with a blog, even if in the end result of it isn't publishing that blog. So that blog could turn into a video script. It could turn into an infographic. It bring a poll. It could bring itself to life in a lot of ways. But you do kind of start with, a concept that is based off of a long form blog, because those are the basics. But yeah, past that, there's a lot of stuff that's content.
We had a really nice conversation with Mike last week. So you guys just did a great job of kind of quickly defining content. But what does content look like at different stages in the sales funnel, right? In the marketing funnel, from awareness down to conversion? There's different messages. There's different people. Government Gary, from an awareness standpoint, has a certain message, but at conversion, that is not a brand awareness message, right? Like there are so many, and leveraging from awareness to consideration to conversion and thinking through that, it is easier said than done. And it was a great conversation that I appreciated Mike bringing up last Friday, because there is a whole different thought process and message based off your persona's needs and the content that is delivered to them at that stage in the sales cycle.
Yeah, and again, if you have not listened to the Mike podcast last week, go back and listen, because it has a lot of good information in it.
I was listening to it this morning, and I really like what he had to say about personalization and content, because I feel like that's segueing off to what Sam said, is
there we go.
rolling through that. Personalization and content, that's a part of the consumer journey that you just can't skip out on anymore. And that's why it's important. Like, why should we market to Joe the janitor, Government Gary? Why do they care? Or what's important to them? Is it funny? Is it bringing them entertainment? And I feel like that's basic psychology and basic marketing. But how can we add value to their consumer journey or with our content?
And I'll tell you another reason to do it is we've worked with some brands that we thought we knew who their main audience was on their website, for example. We had a pretty good idea which persona. We made the personas, and we hadn't done the work yet of kind of assigning who was showing up on the website and what personas were there. So we made some assumptions, and a lot of the content that they and we were creating ended up being, we found out, wrong. It's not bad content. We're still using it, of course, but it was not the number 1, number 2, or number 3 persona. It was actually down the list a little bit. So it shifted how we're looking at content creation for that brand right now, and what audience we need to speak to. The ones that are on the site that you have an opportunity to convert and push down the sales funnel wasn't exactly who we thought. So just the measurement metrics of it can kind of change your whole strategy as well. Like, you go in kind of guessing until you know, and this stuff helps you know. Like a good CRM system, a good persona, and a good content strategy set really can drive
and a
you.
positive attitude.
And perfect. That is literally
that's what I'm
amen
missing.
to
Damn
that,
it.
sister.
I feel like
Amen.
a lot of times too, people assume that personas are just basic demographics, and that's where you can really go wrong. And that's not deep diving into who your audience is, and that's kind of just a mistake that I've seen over and over again. Or Gen Z, that demographic, it's a buzzword right now. I remember, I'm a millennial, but when I graduated college and worked at luxury hotel brand, everyone was like, Airbnb is going to be out. How are we going to compete with Airbnb and millennials? And they're always asking me my favorite, like, Taylor, you're a millennial. What do you like? I'm like, I like avocado toast, but I'm a little bit more traditional than that. Like, I like pink, but I'm not sure if it's millennial pink. It's more of a blush. But I feel like now Gen Z, they're where I mean, within each generation, everyone's trying to market to that demographic specifically, and sometimes that can be the wrong thing. It's who's your audience.
I'm Gen X, and I love avocado toast.
Yeah,
I'll tell you right now.
with an egg on it, it's very nice.
Yeah, a slice of bacon. It's really good. That's why I get a Wildflower every time.
Fancy
every
avocado
weekend.
toast guy. It's a great point.
Yeah.
It's a very good point.
And the other thing I guess I would say to tie both of these things up here at the end is, the other thing you can learn through personas is that they may have very specific niche content avenues that they are going to react to or be more responsive to. So you can learn through your personas that, this audience really responds well to video. This audience really responds well to social media posts. This one really responds well to email. Like, whatever that content is, you can kind of also figure out how it aligns with your persona and what works best with that group, so that, again, you're not guessing. You're putting your money and your effort towards things that have actual results.
I love it.
Yeah, putting your money where your mouth is.
I love it.
Yeah.
So our last big announcement before we wrap here today, speaking of content, and Taylor Bartley, our special guest today, brought this up a couple of weeks ago. We are officially, as of tomorrow, going to have a video producer and editor on staff, and you might know his name. Brandon Bergen is back, baby.
I think we spilled the beans on that last week.
Did we? Okay, well, I forgot because I was so excited.
But we're so excited we're going to say it again.
He was here for 7 years, and you know what? Now that I'm talking through this, I'm totally repeating myself from last week, yes. But anywho, we are so excited. Brandon is back tomorrow, and Taylor was just talking about, hey, I love working with video people because there's just so much content to be had, especially in this world of video that we're living in right now.
There's a lot of alignment between functions or departments, if you will.
Yes.
But I feel like there's some of my favorite people to work with because they know how we can videotape or get content in a specific way that's tailored to our audience or persona or which platform. And I think that's really important too. You can't just post it and send it.
Perfect.
You have
So
to think
Brandon,
about it.
we welcome you with open arms, and we know you're not a hugger, but you might get a hug.
You're gonna
tomorrow.
get a hug.
Oh, I want to hug him.
Brandon from video, like Chris from analytics.
Chris from analytics. That is
Chris from
good.
analytics.
Chris from freaking analytics.
I was thinking about the Taylor A and Taylor B too. I was like, it's Taylor A/B testing.
Oh, I don't like that.
I like that.
Mike last week suggested, much probably to the chagrin of our HR department, if we hired another Taylor, her last name had to start with C.
With C, which honestly I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's where we're headed.
That would be fun. I feel like we're kind of we have
A, B, and C.
Taylor, Chelsea. I was like, this is like Noah's
Julie,
Ark.
Julie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a pair of
We-
all of us.
My next hire is going to be a Steve.
Well, why don't we get another Sam?
That's fine because there's only Roop here.
Yeah.
Taylor Bartley, thank you for being here today. Thank you for
guys
being
for
at the
having
agency.
me.
Yeah, welcome.
It is
First time,
wonderful to have you here.
Was first time listener or long time listener, first time caller.
There it is. She
There
got
it
it.
is.
I finally got it down.
Nailed it. Okay, we will see you all next week. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Adios.
Bye-bye.